When we found out about the show, and then we had to come up with the theme, it was obviously, it could only be love. And when I was speaking to Matt about it, the little voice inside me just spewed out a story, and I couldn't let it go. So I decided, you know what, for the first time since I've put the show on, I will actually share a story. And it goes something like this. When I grew up, when I was a little kid, my parents owned a corner store, so they didn't have the time to raise me. So they sent me away to East Van in Strathcona, and I was raised by my grandparents. And I didn't understand the concept of bonding. I only know that word right now because I have a puppy, and we read the books, like bonding. Like, I had no idea what that meant. I do now, but back then, for the first 6 years of my life, they were my parents. It was everything that you read in the books. It's like, they love me, I love them. Grandfather let me cheat at cards, lets me always win, and grandmother always cooked my favorite dishes. It was bliss. And then I grew up, I think it was like 7, and then they transferred me back to North Vancouver. So I left East Van, and now I lived in North Van, not really understanding what was going on. And now I'm being raised by my parents. But I didn't bond with them. So I'm in this space, and all my new life, instead of just, going to school, coming home, playing games, watching the news with my grandfather, now it's go to school, come home, work in the store, do your homework, sleep, repeat. Fast forward, that was grade school. Go into high school. Now this little bubble that I'm in, trying to fit in a world that I didn't fit into, increased. The friends that I had made new friends. Now I'm an outsider looking in, trying to figure life out for the next time. Life again. Wake up, go to school, come home, work in the store, do your homework, repeat. Grades 8, 9, 10. Grade 11 changed a little bit because now we have extracurricular activities outside of school. And for the first time in my life, there was something more than math, science, physics, chemistry, like all the things that a diligent Asian male should read and understand. There was something else. Art, culture, music, like people. And then I realized there's something else out there, but I didn't have access to that. Grade 12 happened, graduated, and now I was introduced to a world that I was not prepared for. University. Went to UBC, thought I was hot shit, realized I was very ill prepared for what was about to happen because my bubble was about to be shattered. I found out that there's more to life than what I realized life was going to be. I found out the wonderful thing called alcohol and the wonderful effects that has on numbing pain, increasing your bravado, and making you do really, really stupid things. I found out about life, that there is a world beyond studying. There's a world beyond this little tiny bubble that my parents kept me in. I found out about women. I found out about love. And I found out shortly after falling in love for the first time in my life, the pain of breaking up from something that I've never experienced before. And then that cascaded me into a bunch of really bad decisions. But the university was a catalyst because it showed me a world that I wanted to be in and out of a world that I was in. But at that time, I was still working at the store, living with my parents, and my dad didn't like what I was becoming. He basically said, you want to live under my roof, you have to abide by my rules. I'm like, okay. And I pushed those rules. I pushed them hard. There's a curfew, 1:00 curfew. I'd go to 2:00, and then he eventually installed a lock on the door. And he didn't inform me of this, and one day I was locked out of the house. He informed me the day after, but I still pushed the rules because I wanted more of this world that I'm experiencing. It was a day like this. Went out to a nightclub, wanted to be somebody in a world that I just massively exposed to. Came home, door is locked. So what do? Sleep in the car. And it was my sister who was going to school the next day, rapping on my window to wake me up and says, I left the door open. You can sneak into your room and warm up a little bit. And I resented my dad for doing that. But it just continued, and we didn't really have much of a relationship because I was terrified of the guy, terrified to the point that, it's if I ever got my dad mad, it's like there's nowhere in the world I could hide, and you knew the beatdown was coming. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You just have to prepare yourself that it's going to really suck for the next week because you're not going to be able to sit down. Because his idea of making me understand was he had these little thin bamboo rods about the size of a pencil, 4 feet long, 6 of them. Conversation isn't over until each one of them is snapped in half. That was my life, and that was the relationship that I had with my dad, etched in my head. In my early 20s, this friction escalated. And one day I remember him waiting for me again. The curfew was at 1. He just got sick and tired of it. So he was waiting. My mom knew he was waiting. And I got home and he goes, what do you want me to do? And the conversation didn't, escalated really fast. But ping, ping, ping. And it got to the point where I'm staring my dad down. I was in such a rage. And all I wanted him to do was twitch. I just wanted him to give him the first shot and then just have it out with him. And I was just staring at him. I was just going, just do it. Just hit me. And looking back, I'm glad he didn't, because he would have knocked me in the next week. Because I was like a 140-pound weakling, and he could have easily tore my head off with his pinky. But I didn't care. And what I've never shared before was what was going through my head that day when I was staring at him. All I said was, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of this life. I want out. Just echoed in my head. We're going to pause that. We'll come back to that. Last month, exactly 1 month ago in January, I get a phone call from my friend. He goes, hey, I'm at the hospital. I got diagnosed. I got an eye issue, and I need you to help pick me up. I'm like, sure, no problem. Picked him up, brought him home, and he said, yeah, I have to go back tomorrow. I can take a cab, but I might need you to come get me again. I'm like, hey, no problem. Anything you need, just give me a call and I'll help you out. So the next day, sure enough, he gives me a call, gives me an address, and says, hey, I'm in bad shape. I really need you to pick me up. No problem. Pick him up. And he looks like he looks really bad. Bandage over his eye. He had to hold his head a certain way because of the procedure that they did. We get home, and I help him into his house, and I sit him down on the sofa, I go to the washroom to clean up, and I hear him have a conversation with his mother. What do you call it? His stepmom. I'm not going to go into the details of what he was saying. What he said is, I just want to talk to him. Why won't he return my calls? Why won't he say it to me? It's bullshit what he's doing, because his meetings aren't that important and he doesn't have to be there. Why won't he come here? I don't want my mom to come. I want him to come. It's only 2 days. And I got to witness all of this, but I didn't understand what was going on. I really couldn't connect with my friend, and I could hear the pain in his voice. I could hear like the torment, and all he wanted was to have his dad come up, take care of him, because he could potentially go blind. I get the severity of the situation, but I don't understand how you could feel this. So I reappeared and I said, hey man, if you need me, let me know. I think you need a moment by yourself. So I left, but I couldn't let go. I couldn't stop thinking about what just happened. It's like, what happened? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. So I bumped into a friend having a coffee and I related the story. She said to me simply, if your friend is as wealthy as he is, why did he call you? To give you some background, I've known him for 10 years. I've envied his life, or I envied his life. Born into wealth, trust fund baby, has everything that you could possibly ask for. And I sat there and was like, wow, every year you got a new snowboard outfit, you got this, you got that, it's like, wow, that's really cool. I never experienced wealth like that before. I got to witness it. I remember going down to the cabin and I looked down at the table and it's like, what is that? He goes, oh, those are $10,000 checks. Grandma cuts them to me so they can have tax write-offs. Like, there's like 3 of them there. It goes, yeah. Like, it was mind-blowing. I'm like, what? I go, this is crazy. It's a world coming from nothing where we had to sit there and just get by. Seeing that, I was envious of that. I wanted that. I wanted your life. This is really cool. But then that day happened. And as I said, I couldn't understand. My friend goes, why did he call you? He took a cab there. He could have taken a cab home. So I get home pondering this because it should be obvious. It wasn't obvious to me. So I called my sister and we had a conversation. I told her the same thing. And then she goes, he called you because he wanted you there. He wanted connection. I'm like, but that doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't he have connection? And then I realized, growing up, I was as sick of everything that I was. Everyone was always there. Like, it was just something that I took for granted. And if every time I had an issue and I needed someone to back me up or help me out, I'd call my sister, my mom would bail me out. My dad silently bailed me out a few times. But I never questioned it. I never understood what was going on. So now I had something to compare. And my mind teleported me back to that moment when I said, I had enough of you. I'm sick of this life. I want out. Remember how I said I didn't understand why I couldn't connect with my friend when he wanted his dad. Well, first of all, I can't connect that way because my dad's been dead for 15 years. I did say at one point that I'm sick and tired of you. I want out. I don't want any more of this. Now, I'm not saying that I wished him away, but I wished that life away. And I wanted something better. What I didn't understand until now is that the universe said, more or less said to me, it's like, I can't give you any better. You're just looking at the wrong way. I gave you everything you asked for. I have connection. I have each other. I have 3 siblings, a father, a mother, and we had each other. My friend, for all the money that he has, for all the wealth that his family has, he couldn't get his dad to come for 48 hours. So I think back about what I wished for, about what I wanted. I remember the day that my dad passed away. I remember the chair that I picked up and threw halfway across the swimming pool. I didn't know you could physically do that. I thought that was only special effects in movies that you can toss a chair that far. I remember the grief. I remember the sadness. But I never processed it till last month when I came to this realization that there are things money just can't buy. My friend proved that to me. So I became aware of what's important in life. And I invited my mom here, but she couldn't make it because of the weather. But I wanted to tell her that long time ago, you sat me down when I was being an ass, or as Ryan kindly put it, a jerk. And you just looked at me and said, I just want you to wake up. I just want my little boy back. Well, it's taken 30 years. But Mom, I'm awake and I'm back. And I love you. And it's taken me my entire life to understand. So with that, be careful what you wish for, because it can come true, and some things you just can't get back. Thank you.